Carefully, some congressional Democrats, did you hear that? Democrats have a message for their Democratic President Obama. Don't sue Arizona. Now, one of those Democrats is Arizona Congresswoman Giffords. She joins us live. Good evening.
Thanks for having me on.
Okay, I'm going to get to the issue of suing Arizona, but first a question of boycotts. You have been quoted as saying that there have been some federal agencies or departments or divisions that are part of a boycott of your state.
Yeah, I'm very troubled by this. Ever since SB 1070 passed, I've been working with the Arizona Hotel and Lodging Association, talking to any group that's thinking about boycotting Arizona or is boycotting Arizona. I don't care if it's a rock band, if it's a city, a state, or the federal government. I'm telling them the boycotts are misguided and oftentimes hurt the very people that these groups espouse that they support.
All right. Is the federal government itself one of the boycotters, though?
Well, we have two instances from the Department of Education, the Department of Homeland Security, where meetings were planned, meetings were canceled, and the reason given was because of the immigration law.
What do you say? When do you call up the president or call up anyone? I mean, call up your leadership or say, you know, what's going on here? I mean, this is like the federal government is now boycotting a state over a statute that hasn't even bothered to challenge because they have not sued your state yet.
No.
And you even heard the Attorney General say, who doesn't support the law, he says it's not. There is no racial profiling, and there's a question whether a lot of people even read this statute who are complaining about it.
Well, I think a lot of this right now is just jump on Arizona. Let's beat up Arizona. And as a native Tucsonan, I mean, I resent this, and I hold those groups personally responsible for damaging the economy of Arizona even more than it currently has been damaged.
But do you call those agencies that have canceled their meetings, or do you call the president and say what's going on?
Oh, absolutely. We've pushed back.
And what do you hear?
Well, we haven't heard anything. You know, we've heard, oh, well, it didn't really happen that way. But again, working with those hotels, we know the reason why those meetings were canceled, and it's absolutely wrong. I don't care which group it is. And, you know, these are hardworking Arizonans. We're just slowly coming out of the economic crisis right now. And again, it's not fair. Those tourism workers, those folks that rent cars, those people that have restaurants or gift shops were not responsible for passing the law. So if you're angry at the politicians, take out your anger and resentment on the politicians, not over, you know, over the hardworking people's backs.
Do you think? Have you heard anything about the federal government? I mean, obviously, you've heard that the federal government, there's noise is going to sue the state of Arizona, but have you got any indications this is really going to happen, or whether this is just saber rattling? Yeah,
you know, I'm not sure. I'm not an attorney, and I represent Arizona's 8th District. It's the most porous part of the U.S.-Mexico border. I also had the unfortunate situation of Rob Krentz, my constituent, who was tragically murdered on his ranch 2.5 months ago. So all of my focus is on the border. It's on the 240,000+ illegal immigrants who were apprehended in the Tucson sector last year. The over 1 million pounds of marijuana that was seized in the Tucson sector. So, you know, for me, it's more boots on the ground. It's not more attorneys at the courthouse. I mean, that's what's going to solve the problem.
All right, so I take it you don't want President Obama or the Justice Department to sue your state?
I don't. I really want to focus focus on the problem of securing the border.
Were you at the meeting with Mr. Brennan?
I was.
Okay, what are metric deliverables? Have you figured that one out?
Well, you know,
is that just Washington speak? I tell you, I had to take notes on that one.
You know, for those meetings, the positive thing was to actually have, you know, the president's indirect ear with Mr. Brennan, who is a top security advisor to the president, and his team coming.
You know, but you know what the thing, though, that would disturb me was you say you had a top person. Why not send former Governor Napolitano, who's Director of Homeland Security, who knows the state probably as well as you do? Or, you know, why didn't he send her? Why do you have to reinvent the wheel for someone who wants to determine metric deliverables, find out goals? She knows exactly the problem. Why didn't he send her?
Well, she does know the problem.
Why didn't he send her?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. We did have someone from the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Justice.
Why reinvent the wheel? Send her. She knows the problem.
Well, the good thing with the announcement, with the National Guard, obviously that is going to be under a joint jurisdiction. And you know, we wanted more guardsmen on the border. You know, we called for 3,000. 1,200 was promised to the southwest border, 524.
You're getting 524.
And then 250 roughly to both Texas and California, the remainder going to New Mexico. And again, I mean, I'm just grateful, considering this problem's going on for so...
Why aren't you madder in hell that Janet Napolitano doesn't get down there?
Because we have 1,000 other additional Border Patrol agents that are coming. Then we have about 130 ICE agents as well that are coming. $600 million. And again,
has that been auzed, the $600 million?
Well, we're working on it.
So you don't even have the $6 million. The $600 million is a concept.
Yeah. Well, again, we're in budget talks today about how we're going to be able to get get the supplemental through, and it's a priority. So, you know, again, we have been mistreated for so long, for many administrations.
I agree with you on that.
And, you know, our job is just to really to help the hardworking men and women of the Border Patrol right now who are being outgunned, they're out-resourced, they're outmanned, and it's a dangerous situation in many cases.
We only have 10 seconds left, on a 1 to 10 scale, 10 being the worst, 1 to 10 scale, how serious a problem is this illegal immigration in Arizona?
Oh, I'd give it a 9. I mean, it's, you know, I mean, it's pretty horrendous right now. Drug smuggling is a much bigger problem than it was in the past, and, you know, it's really dangerous to be out on the border in many parts.
Councilman, thank you, and I know you're putting up the good fight for your state. It's obviously a very important. I've been down there, so I've seen how important it is to your people down in Arizona. Thank you.
We want you back.
We'll come back.
Right.
We'll be happy to come back. We'll walk the border, maybe.
Oh, that sounds good.